The battlefield was chaos. Smoke covered the ground like a thick fog, and the sound of gunfire echoed across the ruined city. Buildings lay broken and blackened, their walls shaking as explosions lit up the sky. Captain Rhea moved fast through the wreckage, her breathing heavy, her pulse sharp with fear. She had lost contact with her squad. One moment they were behind her, the next they were gone. She was alone now, deep in enemy territory. Every step felt like walking into a trap. Her people, the Elan, had trained her since childhood to hate humans. They were the monsters of her stories, the destroyers of planets. But in this moment, Rhea didn't care about politics or lies. She just wanted to survive. Her boots crunched over broken glass as she moved between ruined walls, her weapon raised. She kept checking the shadows. Something didn't feel right. Then she saw it. A red light blinked from a far rooftop. Her eyes widened. A sniper. She had only seconds to react. The shot fired, glowing bright blue as it sliced through the air toward her. There was no time to dodge. Her body froze. Death was coming. But before the blast could reach her, someone slammed into her from the side. She hit the ground hard, a heavy weight on top of her. The shot struck him instead. Captain Ryan, a human soldier, rolled off her and groaned in pain. Smoke rose from the hole burned into his armor. Blood spread across his chest. Rhea stared in shock, her mind refusing to believe what had just happened. A human had taken the hit meant for her. Why? She didn't even know his name. She had fought humans in many battles. None had ever shown mercy. And yet, this one had thrown himself in front of a sniper blast to save her life. He coughed, then looked at her with a half-smile. "You're welcome," he said weakly, before closing his eyes. Rhea's training screamed at her to leave him. He was the enemy. He was human. But something deep inside her wouldn't let her walk away. She pressed her hand to his wound, trying to stop the bleeding. She looked around. Another shot could come at any second. If she stayed out in the open, they'd both die. Without thinking, she pulled his arm over her shoulder and dragged him toward the nearest shelter, a half-destroyed building with part of the roof still intact. The inside smelled of fire and dust. She laid him down against a wall and quickly scanned the area. It seemed safe. For now. She turned back to him. His face was pale, his breathing shallow. She reached for the med patch on his belt and pressed it over the wound. It hissed as the medicine activated, slowing the bleeding. She didn't understand. Why would he save her? Outside, distant voices shouted. Soldiers were sweeping the ruins, looking for survivors. Rhea crouched low, heart pounding. If they found them, they'd kill both of them, no matter whose side they were on. She looked at the human again. His eyelids fluttered, and he opened his eyes just enough to see her. "You better not die," he whispered, "or this was for nothing." Then he passed out. Rhea sat in silence, unsure what to do. Everything felt upside down. She was supposed to kill humans, not owe them her life. This one had changed everything in a single moment. She didn't even know his name, and yet, she couldn't let him die. She wouldn't. Outside, the voices were getting closer. Rhea picked up his rifle, her own weapon at her side. If anyone came through that door, she'd fight. Not just for herself now, but for him too. For the first time in her life, an enemy had saved her, and she would return the favor, no matter what came next. The room was dark and quiet, broken only by the soft hum of distant gunfire. Dust floated in the air, lit by thin rays of sunlight slipping through the cracks in the roof. Captain Rhea sat beside the human, watching his chest rise and fall slowly. His skin looked pale, too pale. She had done what she could, used his med patch, cleaned the wound, and wrapped it tight. But he had lost a lot of blood. He needed help, real help, and she had no idea how to give it. She looked at his face again. This human was strange. He had jumped in front of a sniper blast for her, a total stranger. She didn't even know his name. Who does that? Humans were supposed to be selfish, violent, and cruel. At least, that's what the Elan leaders always said. But this one, he had saved her without a second thought. Rhea touched the edge of her cracked helmet, trying to think. She couldn't call her squad. They would report her for helping a human, and if the humans found them, they'd shoot her on sight. Both sides wanted the other dead. She was alone now, and so was he. A soft groan broke her thoughts. She looked down and saw his eyes slowly open. He blinked a few times, trying to focus. His voice came out low and rough. "Still alive?" Rhea nodded. "Barely." He smiled a little. "Good. That means I didn't waste it." She narrowed her eyes. "Why did you do it?" He looked at her for a moment, like he didn't understand the question. Then he shrugged weakly. Didn't think. Just saw the shot and moved. "That's not an answer," she said. He winced as he shifted his position. "Yeah, well, maybe I'm just not a fan of people dying in front of me." Rhea didn't know what to say. No human had ever spoken to her like that, like she mattered. She stood up and looked outside through a broken wall. Smoke still hung over the ruins. Patrols were moving slowly through the streets. She could hear voices in both Elan and human languages. Whoever controlled this area now wasn't letting anyone out alive. "We have to move," she said, turning back to him. "They'll find us if we stay here." He gave her a tired look. "Move where?" "I can barely sit up." "Then crawl," she snapped, "or die here." He chuckled, though it ended in a cough. "Tough love, huh?" Rhea grabbed his arm and pulled him up slowly. He groaned in pain but didn't fight her. They moved together through the ruins, step by step. She held most of his weight. It was slow, painful work, but somehow he kept going. She admired that, even if she didn't want to admit it. "What's your name?" she asked quietly. "Ryan," he said. "Captain Ryan Hale." She nodded. "I'm Rhea." "I know," he replied, breathing hard. She paused. "How?" "You're on the most wanted list. A lone hero. Killed 20 humans in one battle. Famous." She didn't answer. The silence stretched between them. She didn't feel like a hero anymore. They stopped inside an old garage, hidden behind fallen beams, and a crushed vehicle. It smelled of oil and dust, but it was dry and quiet. Rhea helped Ryan sit down, then looked around for anything useful. She found a canteen with a few drops of water and gave it to him. He took a small sip and nodded. "You didn't have to save me," he said suddenly. "Could have left me back there." "You didn't have to save me either," she replied. He smiled again, tired but honest. "Guess we're even." Rhea wasn't so sure. Something had changed when he took that shot. It didn't feel like a fair trade. He had risked everything. And now she felt like she owed him more than just words. Before she could answer, she heard something. A soft buzzing in the air. Her eyes narrowed. A drone. She pulled Ryan behind a pile of debris and crouched low. The drone floated past the garage slowly, scanning the area with a red light. It hovered for a moment, then flew off toward the north. "We have to move again," she whispered. Ryan groaned. "Seriously?" She looked at him. "They're tracking us. They won't stop until we're dead." He met her eyes. "Then let's make it hard for them." She didn't smile, but she felt something stir inside her. Maybe this human wasn't a monster. Maybe, just maybe, he was the first real person she had ever met in this war. And maybe saving him wasn't a mistake after all. The air was cold as night fell over the ruined city. Broken towers stood like dark skeletons against the stars, and the silence was heavy, too heavy. Rhea's eyes scanned the shadows while Ryan leaned against her side, each breath a struggle. They had traveled for hours, hiding from drones, dodging patrols, and moving only when it was safe. Now they rested in an old train station, half buried under rubble. It wasn't much, but for now, it was shelter. Ryan was getting worse. His skin was pale, and every movement made him wince. The med patch had stopped the bleeding, but it couldn't fix everything. Rhea sat close to him, her rifle across her lap, eyes fixed on the broken doorway. She didn't trust this quiet. Something was wrong. Too quiet, too easy. Ryan shifted beside her and whispered, "You always this quiet, or is it just because I'm human?" She looked at him, her face unreadable. "I don't talk much." "That's so," he said with a tired smile. "Well, I talk enough for both of us." She shook her head. "That's not something to be proud of." He laughed weakly, then coughed. His voice lowered. "Why'd you help me, Rhea? Be honest." She looked away for a moment, then said softly, "Because you helped me first. I owe you." "Fair enough," he whispered. "But helping me, that makes you a traitor to your people." She didn't answer. The truth was heavy. If her commanders found out, she'd be marked for death. Saving a human, fighting beside him, it wasn't just wrong, it was forbidden. But something in her had already changed. That moment when he threw himself in front of the sniper shot, something had cracked open inside her. The hatred she'd been taught her whole life no longer felt right. Ryan had saved her without hesitation. That act couldn't be ignored. Suddenly, a sound broke the stillness. A soft click, metal on stone. Rhea froze. That was not a random noise. She grabbed her weapon and stood, motioning for Ryan to stay quiet. He didn't argue. She crept toward the source of the sound, heart pounding. Her boots made no noise as she moved between pillars and rubble. Then she saw it, a drone hovering just above ground level, scanning slowly with a red light. It hadn't spotted them yet, but it was close. Too close. She raised her rifle, aimed carefully, and fired. The shot was fast and clean. The drone sparked, tumbled, and crashed silently into the dust. But the damage was done. "They know we're here," she said quickly, rushing back to Ryan. He tried to stand, but his legs gave out. She grabbed him before he fell. "I can slow them down," he muttered. "You should go." She stared at him like he'd gone insane. "You think I'm leaving after all this?" He looked surprised, then smiled faintly. "Didn't think you cared." "I don't," she lied. "But I don't break my word." She helped him up, and they moved again, sticking to the shadows. Behind them, lights flickered in the sky. More drones. And worse, Rhea saw flashes of armor. Soldiers were coming. Alon and human. Both sides. "They're hunting us both," she said in disbelief. Ryan frowned. "Why the humans?" "Maybe because you helped me." They stopped near a collapsed wall, breathing hard. Rhea checked her scanner. It was broken, cracked from their last fall. She tossed it aside. They had no gear left. No backup. Only each other. "We need to get off the grid," Ryan said. "There's an old tunnel system beneath the city. Might still be open." "You sure?" "No. But it's the only chance we have." Rhea looked around. The sounds of footsteps were growing louder. The enemy was getting close. She nodded. "Then we go now." They moved fast, pushing through wreckage and broken streets until they reached a steel door half covered by debris. Ryan kicked it weakly, and the metal groaned as it opened. Cold, stale air rushed out. They slipped inside, sealing the door behind them. Darkness swallowed them. Only the soft glow of Rhea's wrist light guided their path now. As they walked deeper into the tunnels, Ryan whispered, "If we survive this, what then?" Rhea didn't answer at first. Then she said, "Then maybe we stop surviving and start fighting back." He looked at her. "You mean together?" She nodded once. Together. In the dark, hunted by both sides, they had no more allies. But maybe they had each other. The tunnels were cold, damp, and silent, except for the sound of their footsteps echoing off the walls. Rhea walked ahead, her light casting long shadows across the broken ground. Pipes lined the ceiling, some dripping water that splashed onto the floor. Rust covered everything. It smelled like metal, oil, and old secrets. Behind her, Ryan limped along. Leaning on a steel rod, he picked up as a crutch. Every few steps he winced. His wound was getting worse, but he refused to stop. Rhea had offered to carry him again, but he had shaken his head. "I still have some pride left," he'd said with a weak grin. Rhea didn't smile. She was too focused. These tunnels were abandoned years ago during the first phase of the war. Some were used to move troops and supplies. Others were used to hide people who were never found again. Now, they were their only hope. "We should rest," Ryan said, his voice low but steady. Rhea turned to him. "Not yet. We need distance. Patrols will scan this place once they realize we're gone." He nodded, though the pain in his eyes was clear. "Lead the way, Captain." They'd moved deeper into the maze of tunnels. Some areas had collapsed, forcing them to climb over rubble. Others had strange markings on the walls, symbols neither of them recognized. Rhea noticed them but said nothing. This place wasn't on any map she'd seen. That made her uneasy. After another hour of walking, they reached a wide chamber where several tunnels met. Rhea checked all the entrances. Nothing moved. No sound. No heat signatures. "This will have to do," she said. Ryan collapsed against the wall and exhaled sharply. "Remind me never to save anyone again." Rhea looked at him, then sat beside him, her weapon resting across her knees. Silence returned, but this time it felt heavier. Rhea couldn't stop thinking. Both their armies were hunting them. Both sides had decided they were a threat. For the first time in her life, she wasn't sure who the real enemy was. Ryan broke the silence. "I had a brother," he said quietly. "His name was Max. He died in this war." Rhea didn't answer right away. "He was a medic. Wouldn't even carry a gun," Ryan continued. "Thought saving lives was more important than taking them." She turned to him slowly. "What happened?" "A drone strike. Wrong target. Wrong day." Ryan looked at the tunnel ceiling. "The brass said it was acceptable loss." "I didn't think so." Rhea nodded once. "I had a sister, younger. She wanted to be a singer, got conscripted when the fighting reached our home city. They sent her to the front lines with a gun she didn't even know how to load." Ryan's face tightened. "Let me guess, she didn't make it." "No," Rhea said. "She didn't." They sat in silence again, but it felt different now. Not empty, shared. Both had lost family to this war. Both had believed the other side was evil. But here they were, helping each other survive. Suddenly, Rhea stood, eyes narrowing. A soft hum echoed through the tunnels. Faint, but growing louder. "Drones," she whispered. "Coming fast." Ryan pushed himself up. "Which way?" Rhea scanned the tunnel entrances. She pointed to one of the smaller passages. "There. That path leads down. Maybe it connects to the old transport lines." Without another word, they moved. The sound behind them grew sharper. More drones, scanning the tunnels, searching for heat, movement, voices. Rhea turned off her light, letting the darkness swallow them. They moved by touch and memory now. Each step was careful, every sound held back. One wrong move, one loose rock, and the drones would hear them. Suddenly, the tunnel opened into a deeper cavern. Huge tracks stretched into the dark, and half-buried train cars sat covered in dust. Rhea felt a spark of hope. These old systems might still lead out of the city if they could find a working path. But as they stepped forward, the sound of a metal door slamming behind them echoed like a gunshot. Rhea spun around, weapon raised. Shapes moved in the dark, armed soldiers, stepping out from the shadows. "Don't move," a voice shouted. "Hands up." "Now." Ryan raised his hand slowly. Rhea hesitated, her weapon still up. Then one of the soldiers stepped into the light. Not human, not Alon. Something else. Something neither of them recognized. Rhea's heart raced. "Who the hell are you?" The strange soldier smiled. "The ones who've been watching this war from the shadows." Rhea and Ryan exchanged a glance. This wasn't just about survival anymore. Something far bigger was happening, and they had just stepped into the center of it. The soldiers didn't look like anyone Rhea had seen before. Their armor was sleek, dark gray with glowing blue lines running across it. Their faces were covered by smooth helmets with no eyes, just a single horizontal light where the visor should be. Their weapons weren't like human or Elan rifles. They looked more advanced, more dangerous. Ryan leaned closer to Rhea and whispered, "I've never seen anything like them." "Neither have I," she replied, keeping her weapon raised. One of the soldiers stepped forward, slower than the rest. His voice was calm but firm. "You don't need to fight. We're not here to harm you." Rhea narrowed her eyes. "Then why sneak up on us with weapons drawn?" "To see if you were as dangerous as the rumors say." "What rumors?" Ryan asked. The soldier looked directly at them. The human who saved an Elan captain, and the Elan soldier who spared a human. "We've been watching since the ambush." Rhea's grip on her rifle tightened. "So you've been spying on us?" "We've been observing, waiting, testing." "Testing for what?" Ryan asked. The soldier didn't answer. Instead, he turned and walked deeper into the tunnels. "Follow us. You'll get your answers." Rhea didn't move. She didn't trust them. But she also knew they couldn't fight their way out, not in their condition. Ryan touched her arm. "We don't have many choices left." She nodded slowly, lowering her weapon. Together, they followed the strange group into the darkness. The tunnel led to an underground base hidden beneath the city. It was built into the rock, lit by soft white lights. Machines hummed quietly. Screens showed live feeds from all over the battlefield, both human and Elan forces. Ryan's eyes widened. "This place is massive. How have neither side found it?" "Because neither side knows where to look," said the soldier, now without his helmet. He had pale skin, silver eyes, and strange markings along his neck, like glowing veins. Rhea stared at him. "You're not human or Elan. What are you?" He gave a small smile. "We are called the Irix. We've been here long before your war started." "Why are you watching us?" Ryan asked. "Because your war is dangerous, for all of us. It's spreading, destroying the balance of the system. We've stayed hidden for centuries, but now we're at risk." Rhea folded her arms. "So what does that have to do with us?" "You're different," the Irix leader said. "You didn't follow orders. You saved each other instead of killing. That means something." Ryan shook his head. "We're just two soldiers who got left behind." "No," the Irix replied. "You're proof that this war doesn't have to go on forever, and that's why they fear you." Rhea frowned. "Who fears us?" "Your leaders, both human and Elan. They've known about us. They've made sure the war keeps going so no one looks too deep, asks too many questions. But now they've noticed you too." Ryan leaned on the wall, trying to make sense of it all. "So what do you want from us?" "We want to help you disappear," the Irix said. "Help you survive. But we also want something in return." Rhea's eyes narrowed. "What?" The Irix stepped closer. "We want you to tell the truth. When the time comes, we'll help you show the galaxy what this war really is. Who's behind it? What it's really costing." Ryan let out a slow breath. "That's a big ask." "You've already started," the Irix said. "The moment you refused to kill each other, the moment you chose life over orders, you began changing the story." Rhea looked at Ryan. He looked back. Neither of them spoke, but they both understood. They hadn't asked for this, but maybe they were the only ones left who could do it. Rhea turned back to the Irix. "If we say yes, what happens next?" The Irix leader smiled faintly. "Then we show you the truth." Behind him, a wall opened with a soft hiss, revealing a long hallway filled with screens, maps, and ancient symbols. "This," he said, "is where everything begins to change." Ryan gave a weak grin. "No pressure, right?" And with that, the two soldiers stepped forward, into a story far bigger than either of them had ever imagined. You said. The hallway was quiet, too quiet. Rhea's boots clicked softly against the smooth floor as she walked beside Ryan, who moved slowly but steadily. Behind them, the Urix guards followed like silent shadows. The glowing lights on the walls pulsed with a soft blue rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. Everything here felt strange, ancient, yet far more advanced than anything she had seen in Elan or human technology. At the end of the hall, they entered a circular room. The walls were covered in holograms, war maps, images from orbit, live feeds of cities and battlefields. But in the center was something different. A massive sphere floated above a platform, glowing softly. Inside the sphere, scenes flickered, humans building weapons, Elan leaders giving orders, secret meetings, destroyed colonies. The truth was being shown without filters, unspoken and raw. The Urix leader turned to them. This is the archive. It records everything. It cannot be edited or erased. What you see here is real. Ryan stared at the images, jaw clenched. That's Earth's High Council. They said they didn't know about the colony bombing. They did, the Urix confirmed, just as the Elan High Command lied about the peace talks. Both sides have been feeding the war for years. Rhea stepped closer to the sphere. Her people, her commanders, were shown giving orders to silence peace efforts, to destroy cities just to keep fear alive. It twisted her stomach. This is why the war never ends, the Urix said, because they don't want it to. Rhea whispered, it was never about survival. It was control. Exactly. Ryan took a step back, his face pale. We believed in them. We fought for them. And now, the Urix said, you have a choice. Keep running, hide forever, or stand up and show the galaxy what they've been hiding. But how? Rhea asked. They'll kill us before we can speak. The Urix leader nodded, which is why we'll help you get out. We'll get you to the surface, to a signal tower. From there, you can broadcast the truth across both empires. The archive's recordings, your testimonies, everything. Ryan looked doubtful. They'll send fleets to stop us. They will try, the Urix said. But people are already starting to question this war. If they hear the truth from you, soldiers from both sides, it could start something bigger than war. It could start change. Rhea turned to Ryan. I'm doing this. Are you with me? He didn't hesitate. To the end. The Urix activated a control panel. The room dimmed as a hidden platform rose from the floor. Two sleek suits of armor shaped for Rhea and Ryan. They looked lighter than normal combat gear, but built for speed and defense. These will protect you, the Urix said. But remember, if you are caught, neither side will show mercy. We've gotten used to that, Ryan muttered. Rhea pulled on her armor. It felt like wearing fire and steel. The helmet sealed with a hiss, and she heard her own breath inside it, steady, focused. Moments later, the two were ready. We'll take you through the deep tunnels, the Urix said. It leads to an old service shaft. From there, it's a straight shot to the tower. They moved fast, deeper into the earth. The silence returned, but it was no longer peaceful. It was the calm before the storm. When they reached the final chamber, the Urix leader stopped. From here on, he said, you're on your own. Rhea nodded. Thank you for everything. He gave a slow nod. No matter what happens, your choice mattered. As the Urix disappeared into the shadows, Rhea and Ryan stood before a tall ladder leading upward. Above them was the surface, the enemy, the truth. Ryan looked up and smiled grimly. You ready to start a war to stop a war? Rhea checked her weapon. Let's end this. And together, they began to climb, step by step, into the light, into danger, and into history. The hatch opened with a heavy groan, spilling sunlight into the tunnel below. Rhea squinted as her eyes adjusted. For the first time in days, she felt warm air on her face. They had made it to the surface, but it wasn't safe. They crawled out into the ruins of an old city. Tall buildings stood half-collapsed, their bones exposed by years of war. Smoke drifted in the distance. Patrol drones buzzed overhead. The signal tower stood tall on a ridge across the city, blinking slowly like a heartbeat in the chaos. Ryan looked at it and said, "One last run." Rhea nodded. "Let's make it count." They moved fast, ducking between wreckage and ruined walls. Their new armor made them faster, quieter. But the closer they got, the more patrols they saw, both human and Elan forces. The two sides were setting up near the tower, clearly trying to control the signal. If either side got there first, the truth would be buried. "We can't go straight through," Ryan said, catching his breath behind a fallen wall. "Too many of them." Rhea scanned the rooftops. "Then we go over." They climbed a shattered building, leaping from roof to roof like shadows. Alarms blared below as soldiers caught glimpses of movement but couldn't lock on. A few shots flew past them, too close for comfort. Halfway there, a human gunship spotted them. It swooped down, weapons hot. Rhea shouted, "Jump!" They dove just as the gunship's cannons lit up. The rooftop exploded behind them. They landed hard on the next building, rolling through glass and ash. Rhea groaned but stood, pulling Ryan to his feet. "We don't have time," she said. "They're closing in." They made a final dash through a burned-out alley, then burst into the open. The tower loomed ahead, tall, metal, ancient. Its doors were sealed, but the Eriks had given them a code. Rhea punched it in. The doors creaked open. Inside, dust floated in the air. Old tech covered the walls. Screens, cables, transmitters. She ran to the console and uploaded the archive file. Outside, the ground shook. Dropships were landing. Soldiers were shouting. They'd been found. "Cover me," Rhea yelled. Ryan took position by the door, firing at any soldier who got close, human or Elan. He didn't aim to kill, just to keep them back. He didn't want more blood. But the enemy didn't hesitate. They fired to kill. A shot slammed into Ryan's shoulder, spinning him back. "Ryan," Rhea screamed. "I'm fine." He lied, dragging himself behind cover. "Just finish it." The upload hit 80%. A loud voice came through the speakers. "An Elan general. This is a restricted zone. Cease all actions immediately." Then a human commander followed. "Stand down. You are interfering with military operations." Rhea ignored them both. She pressed the final command. The screen flashed. Upload complete. Broadcasting. Every screen, every public display, every military channel, across both human and Elan space, lit up with the truth. The archive began to play. Footage of the lies, the secret orders, the betrayals, and then their faces. Rhea, Ryan, telling the story. Two enemies who chose peace. Silence followed, across the tower, across the battlefield. Then someone fired a shot. A scream. Chaos. But something had changed. In the middle of the confusion, a human soldier stepped forward and dropped his weapon. And Elan did the same. Others followed. Not all, but enough. The war didn't stop that day, but something began. A crack in the wall. A seed of truth. Rhea helped Ryan up. His armor was scorched, blood on his arm. But he smiled. "You think it worked." She looked at the screens, still showing their message. "It's not the end," she said, "but it's the start of something better." They stood together at the top of the tower, watching the sunrise through the smoke. Enemies no longer. Just two people who dared to believe peace was possible. And now, the galaxy believed it too. Fools.